This is Taiwan Insider, a weekly news program brought to you by Radio Taiwan International. I'm Andrew Ryan.
And I'm Natalie. So, here's your week in a minute.
Taiwan and Kiribati have severed diplomatic ties. At the center of the rift is Kiribati's request for money to buy commercial aircraft. When Taiwan turned down the request, Kiribati turned to China instead. A Taiwanese diplomat has attended a religious freedom event at the UN headquarters. Taiwan is normally barred from the UN, but the diplomat was able to attend thanks to an invitation from the US government. Premier Su called Taiwan's attendance a diplomatic breakthrough. Taiwan has unveiled a prototype of an advanced, locally built jet trainer. President Tsai says the trainer shows that Taiwan is moving toward self-sufficiency in its defense needs. President Tsai has released the original version of her doctoral dissertation to ease speculation about the legitimacy of her degree. 2 leopard cat kittens have been rescued from a roadside ditch in Miaoli County and are getting ready for release back into the wild. Some say Taiwan has fewer than 500 leopard cats left. And that's your week in a minute.
Every week at the top of our show, we each come up with a word of the week to describe the contents of today's show. Want to guess my word, Andrew?
I do indeed. What do you have for us?
All right.
Neptune. Nature. Natural. Natalie.
Natalie.
Nautilus. Not Nautilus. Nation building. National. Nationality. Nationalism.
All right,
man.
You got it. It's a long word today.
I haven't guessed that
took
many
a while.
words ever.
Okay, so nationalism. We've been talking about how nationalism fueled China's strategy to lure 2 of Taiwan's allies away recently. Also, we'll be talking with a renowned Hong Kong journalist about how China's nationalism may affect how they deal with the Hong Kong protests. And Taiwan is joining the protests this weekend. Also, we'll be talking about Confucius, whose birthday is this weekend, Teacher's Day. And he's been used as a tool of nationalism.
Okay.
But we will tell you some fun facts about him.
All right, excellent. That's a great word, Natalie.
Yes, ties everything together today.
Very good. So you ready for my word?
Yes.
All right, let's have a little look at this.
Ryan.
Yeah.
Roar. Repay? Reparations? Repugnant? Republic.
That's right. You know, the reason why I chose Republic this week is because we're going to be talking about 2 republics.
That's true.
Of course, one is the People's Republic of China, which is celebrating its 70th anniversary this year. We're going to be talking about the impact that it's had on the Republic of China, which is located here in Taiwan. So 2 republics, 2 very different kinds of country, and we're going to be talking a little bit about the impact that they've had on each other. All right, so also today we want to ask you if you know where this is. So this is a sign on an old shop somewhere in Taiwan, and we want you to guess what kind of shop it is. So here's a hint. In post-World War II Taiwan, the item sold at this shop was considered a luxurious form of transportation. So what does this shop sell, and where in Taiwan is it? We'll have those answers for you at the end of our show.
We now turn to our top story. As China prepares to celebrate its National Day on October 1st, it convinced a second ally of Taiwan in the South Pacific to switch allegiance to Beijing. Now let's take a look at what top officials in Taiwan had to say about the decision by Kiribati.
即日起终止与吉里巴斯共和国的外交关系。
Foreign Minister Joseph Wu announces the severing of ties between Taiwan and Kiribati before a crowd of reporters. This development last Friday came just days after the Solomon Islands' decision to switch ties from Taipei to Beijing. Taiwan now just has 15 official diplomatic allies. Cooperative endeavors between Taiwan and Kiribati ceased immediately, and both sides have vacated their embassies. In the wake of the break in ties, reports have surfaced saying that Kiribati had asked Taiwan for $70 million to buy commercial airliners. Wu would not confirm that price, but he did say that purchasing commercial airliners was not consistent with Taiwan's diplomatic policy. The foreign minister said that Taiwan had offered low-interest loans to Kiribati to purchase the planes, but that Kiribati had declined. Wu says he accepts responsibility for the loss of 2 allies in 1 week. The foreign minister has offered to step down, but the president did not accept his resignation. In response, President Tsai Ing-wen had this to say.
My administration and I find Kiribati's decision regrettable. They have chosen to give up on a true friend and become a pawn of China. We can't help but feel that they are making a mistake. We are now less than 100 days away from the presidential election. This is why China has zeroed in on Taiwan. I want to tell everyone from all of our gathered intelligence, China will ramp up their attempts to oppress Taiwan. I want to make it very clear right now to China that Taiwan's answer to one country, two systems can be summed up in 3 words: not a chance.
Now, these diplomatic successes for China come as China is planning to celebrate the 70th anniversary of the People's Republic of China on October 1st. Now, analysts say that this anniversary is having an effect on the way that Beijing is dealing with rising tensions, not only in Hong Kong, but also in its relationship with Washington and, of course, with Taipei. Now, just to get a little bit more background, we're going to rewind to the founding of the People's Republic of China on October 1st, 1949, and take a look at what kind of impact that's had on the Republic of China here in Taiwan. That's the subject of today's Taiwan Explained. In today's Taiwan Explained, I'm going to explain the founding of the People's Republic of China and the impact that that's had on the Republic of China here in Taiwan.
Okay, so you have 1 minute to do this, Andrew.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
Go.
All right, the People's Republic of China was founded on October 1st, 1949. That was after the Communists won a civil war toppling the Republic of China and the Nationalists. Now, Mao Zedong, the chairman, he gave a speech in Beijing announcing the founding of the PRC. That was followed by a military parade. So where was the Republic of China at this point? Well, the ROC government had already left the capital of Nanjing in May of 1948. They retreated to Guangdong, Chengdu, and Chongqing before arriving in Taipei in December of 1949. Some 2 million people were evacuated to Taiwan. Now, Kai-shek and the Nationalists set up what they called a wartime capital in Taipei, not knowing that they would never again return to China. Now, this year is the 70th anniversary of the People's Republic of China. Officials are preparing a massive military parade like this one. Reports say it will be the biggest ever. There will also be live performances and celebrations involving 300,000 people. However, one thing's been canceled.
What's been canceled?
What's been canceled is this, the annual fireworks display in Hong Kong Harbor. They say that they've canceled it due to security concerns. Of course, that's related to the protests that are taking place in Hong Kong.
That's right. And I heard that security is also much tighter in Beijing as well.
That's
right?
right. They've actually tightened security in Beijing. And the reason, of course, is because in the run-up to the parade, they don't want anything to happen that will, embarrass the administration. And they want everything to look perfect for this big anniversary. They've also done things like tighten controls on the internet. Some journalists are even saying that it's making their job more difficult to do. One other thing is that they've kind of cracked down on certain types of TV dramas.
That's right.
So fewer entertaining TV dramas, kind of like this one that you can see here.
Too entertaining for this time of year.
That's right.
For this occasion.
Exactly. So instead, they're going to show more dramas that are kind of connected to patriotism, showing the successes and achievements of the Communist Party, things like this. Yeah, so I think that they really want to control the message in the run-up to National Day. This is, of course, to shore up support for President Xi Jinping and also just to avoid any kind of embarrassment at this important moment in Chinese history.
So I guess they're feeling patriotic. Maybe.
Yes, yes.
Anyways, thanks so much, Andrew. That was very interesting, the history. And that's Taiwan Explained for this week.
For nearly 4 months, there have been protests in Hong Kong against eroding freedoms and against an extradition bill which would allow the city to send suspects to stand trial in China. Now, earlier this month, a group of musicians were calling on the people of Taiwan to join in protests here in Taiwan this weekend in solidarity with the protesters in Hong Kong. Let's have a look.
A group of high-profile musicians is calling on people in Taiwan to take to the streets on September 29th. to show support for the people of Hong Kong. Hong Kong singer Denise Ho says the people of Hong Kong have been protesting for almost 100 days against an authoritarian government. The protesters are demanding amnesty for protesters, Carrie Lam's resignation, universal suffrage, and an independent inquiry into police brutality. Ho says that these problems affect people not just in Hong Kong, but also in Taiwan. She says China is even oppressing people in the field of music. Over 100 civic groups in Taiwan are planning to show their support for Hong Kong and demonstrate in Taipei, Taichung, and Kaohsiung on September 29th. Today, Hong Kong-based columnist and renowned journalist Frank Ching tells us what he thinks China may do to deal with the protests in Hong Kong. Now, Ching opened the Wall Street Journal Bureau in Beijing in 1979 and is a professor at Chinese University of Hong Kong. He tells us what he thinks may happen in Hong Kong on National Day.
The Hong Kong government is going to have a flag-raising ceremony at 8 o'clock in the morning, followed by a reception. And I think the protesters will try to disrupt the flag raising and the reception. This is what happened on July 1st. July 1st was the 22nd anniversary of the return of Hong Kong to China by the British. And at that time, there were so many protesters around that the Hong Kong government was afraid they would not be able to have a peaceful flag-raising ceremony and so forth, and they moved everything indoors.
Well, what about Beijing? Do you think that they would resort to using the military to crack down on these protesters?
Beijing, for some weeks now, has been threatening to do just that. As you know, they've been holding exercises across the border in Shenzhen of the People's Armed Police and of the PLA. And I think that it's been mainly aimed at intimidating people in Hong Kong.
Right.
So far, they haven't sent any troops across, but of course, they already have a garrison in Hong Kong. But the Hong Kong garrison has not come out into the streets, and the protesters so far have not provoked the garrison. You know, they've gone to the liaison office and defaced the Chinese national emblem, and the Chinese government was very angry at that. But the protests so far have not gone so far as to go to the PLA headquarters.
Oh, that would be pretty crazy. That'd be asking for it, right?
Yes. So I think that so far China has shown great restraint, certainly much greater restraint than I had expected originally.
So do you fear that one day, the military may crack down on the protests?
It is possible, but at this point it seems unlikely. For some time I've been saying they won't do anything before the 70th anniversary National Day, because they want a peaceful environment in which they can have a big celebration. Now it looks to me like even after National Day, they will not send troops in if they think the Hong Kong police can handle it. They would much rather Hong Kong handle the job itself. And the chief executive, Carrie Lam, gave a private talk to some people, and the private talk became public. There was a video that somebody audio that was leaked out, and there she said that China will not send the PLA in, that they are afraid of the ramifications, that they're afraid that it will affect their image. Like China has created this image of itself now as a big, responsible power. And if they send troops in, it will damage that image. So they don't want to do that. And I think that from Hong Kong's standpoint, that's very good.
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, so China wants to appear to be a responsible power. They don't have to act like a responsible power. Then should be no time constraint, whether it's before October 1st, after October 1st.
So there are over 100 civic groups in Taiwan that are planning protests in support of Hong Kong this Sunday in Taipei, Taichung, and Kaohsiung, north, central, and south of Taiwan. What do you think that's going to add to the situation?
Well, I think it's going to help puff up the protesters in Hong Kong, that they have
Moral support, right?
Yeah, they have allies in Taiwan. China clearly won't like it.
Right.
China doesn't like to deal with like a united front of opposition groups. But on a practical level, it won't really affect one side or the other. I mean, the events in Hong Kong will continue to take place, except that the protesters will feel that they are not isolated,
They're
that
not
they have
alone.
supporters outside of Taiwan, of Hong Kong as well.
Now, if you'd like to watch the full interview, you can check out the Taiwan Insider Facebook page or the RTI English YouTube channel. Up next, #Taiwan.
This week on #Taiwan, RTI social media guru Leslie Liao tells us what's trending in Taiwan. Hey, Leslie.
How's it going, guys?
What do you have for us this week, Leslie?
Well, I started last week with a video. This week, I'm going to start with another video. Check it out. Now that, of course, was the popular puzzle video game Tetris. Now something...
I
remember that.
recognize
That was
that.
funny.
recognize that, right?
Yeah.
But something called the Tetris Challenge has surfaced on the internet, and Taiwan has taken to it like absolute wildfire. Basically, all you need to do is take a bird's eye view picture of yourself laying on the ground and with all the equipment you might need during your day job. And this originated from a police department in Zurich, Switzerland.
Look
Nice
at
picture.
that.
I like that. So neatly aligned and the
That's right.
colors.
They even have like
Right.
what looks like a rescue vehicle and two people there,
They
like
look
little
like
figures.
Lego people.
Yes.
It's all very geometric, and that's why the whole Tetris thing comes through.
Okay.
Now, originally, the Tetris Challenge was for first responders, so like firefighters, police, EMTs, and the like. And Taiwan's first responders have been getting really into it, and they've been one-upping each other to the point that a helicopter got involved.
Whoa,
Look at that.
Cool looking helicopter too.
And that's the National Airborne Service Corps, and they are in charge of like doing the mountain rescues and things like that, searching for people. But if you think that's impressive, I got news for you. Boom. Double boats. Double boats. I'm talking Dos Barcos. Okay, that is the Coast Guards. And just look how neatly aligned the boats are. Those are actual boats. And to get that, you know, with the waves going around and to have them line up perfectly like that must have taken skillful maneuvering.
Everything matches so well. Look at the green water, the green boats.
Yeah, you know, and I think this is really great too because it shows you how much goes into their work. You know, we rarely get kind of a bird's eye view of anybody's job.
That's true. And it's
know?
all in one picture, right?
Yeah.
And
That's
so
right.
It's fun to look at because they make it so nice and neat.
It's all geometric and it's all laid out very flat. Now, of the more popular Tetris challenges, this one's been getting a lot of attention. This is a funeral parlor. And
What?
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Ooh, oh, look at their musical instruments in there.
There's you see there's
Tambourines.
flower arrangements and sacrificial objects. There's also
Coffin.
announcers and religious leaders. And it kind of deviates from the original spirit of the challenge in that this is about, which was about saving lives, right?
This is about honoring lives, right?
This is about honoring life.
So it's kind of made a transformation from people who are doing kind of like rescue work to any kind of job.
Yeah.
Like a lot of different people have been doing it for their jobs here in Taiwan, right?
So, fun fact, in Taiwan, the Tetris Challenge is actually called the Unboxing Challenge. And like you said, people are getting very creative with it, including Taiwan's very own president, Tsai Ing-wen.
Oh, look at that.
And she unboxed things that should be in everybody's disaster awareness and prevention kits as well. And she did this as a way to commemorate the 20th anniversary of the 9/21 earthquakes.
So she was probably one of the first people to post one of those pictures too.
I like that she's up on the
Yeah,
trend.
she caught on the trend, and but she was very quick to react with the 9/21 trend because there was only about like a week's leeway between that and the commemoration. And I'm going to show you guys my personal own favorite Tetris challenge and see if you know why it's my favorite.
So that's us right before the show, actually.
That's right. You can tell we're wearing the same outfits in the photo there. And those are all the things that we use for Taiwan Insider.
Yes, our word of the week and our buzzers. We actually have 4 different buzzers.
Yep.
Right? And we've got
Computers,
makeup,
iPads.
Of course.
Mirror. also-
Coffee cups, because I know,
Yes.
Andrew, you spend a lot of late nights
Microphone.
preparing for these shows.
Yeah, the microphones are
And that's about
important.
it, a remote control. That's about it.
We also should say, too, that there are a lot of things that didn't make it into the photo. We have
That's right.
the entire English service. We have editing software for the videos, the person who edits our whole show. We have our cameraman over there.
Our makeup person,
We have our
Tiffany.
director. We have
Right.
so many people that are involved in this. So it's probably a good way for us to not only show that what we do and what we need, but also to thank everybody who's involved with Taiwan
Yes,
Insider.
they're all actually in the credits at the end of the show.
Yes.
So, but that's it for hashtag Taiwan. Thank you for joining us today for hashtag Taiwan. We hope that you're following us on social media. If not, do follow us and do leave a comment below. We would love to hear from you. Every week in Taiwan by Number, we introduce a facet of Taiwan via number. And this week we're going to be talking about Confucius. Did you guys know it's his birthday on Saturday?
I did not.
September 28th. That's why we celebrate Teacher's Day.
Ah, okay.
All right? And so his birthday's Saturday. Can you tell me what year he was born?
This is bad, Andrew.
It's very bad. I'm confused already. You first. You know
I'm
more
not
about
even
this.
sure if I should start. No, don't put that pressure on me. I don't know if I should start
Take a
AD
wild
or
guess.
BC.
I'm
Wild guess.
going to say 300 AD.
Okay.
I'm gonna say 600 AD. That's scary.
She's laughing already. She's laughing at us. We say AD and she thinks it's hilarious. Okay.
Okay, I didn't know either, so
Okay.
before I did my research. But anyways, before I tell you guys the answer, we're going to take a look at what's been happening at the Taipei Confucius Temple because they're marking a big anniversary this weekend.
September 28th is a big day at the Taipei Confucius Temple. There, old rites and solemn rituals honor the official birthday of the ancient sage Confucius. A group of young students spend an entire year mastering refined dances in preparation for the ceremony. The students have been coming to the temple with their parents since they were little to pray for good grades in school. Now it's their turn to give something back. For the first time this year, there will be a festival held after the ceremony to get people of all ages learning about the ancient rites. The festival comes at an important time in the temple's own history. This year, the Taipei landmark is celebrating the 90th anniversary of its founding.
Okay, so before the video, I asked you guys what year Confucius was born. You said 300 and 600 AD?
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a look at the answer.
Oh,
Oh, BC.
Yeah!
551 BC.
That's a
Okay.
long time ago. It's quite amazing, right? We have his teachings and everything from that long ago. So I'm going to be telling you more about this ancient teacher,
Tell us
philosopher.
more. We have everything to learn.
Okay, so he's a famous teacher, right? And he never turned away a student, and he never charged tuition. And he said, you know, he'll teach anyone, even if they can only give him a few pieces of dried meat.
Like
So he said this in the Analysts.
beef jerky.
Yeah, like beef jerky.
Sounds pretty expensive if you're talking about 551 BC.
Well,
Yeah.
not from learning from Confucius, right?
Yeah.
Now, tradition has it that he had 3,000 students.
Wow.
Now, my question is, how many of them mastered his teachings?
Of 3,000.
Mm-hmm.
I think I know this.
Okay.
No, I don't. It's the same number digit. It's like what's it called? It's a multiple of 11. 99? No, Natalie's looking at me weird now.
Okay, I shouldn't give it away, right?
Oh. I like that. Did you say 99?
I'm about to embarrass myself.
I'm going to go with 3.
3. It is hard to master his teachings, right?
Yeah.
How can you do everything he said?
I
All
can't.
right, well, let's take a look.
72.
Well, that's
and that's
the
dried
tradition.
meat.
Yeah, that's dried meat. It's not that ancient, but it's dried meat. Okay, so the next topic is filial piety. That's one of his major principles and teachings, right? And I'll tell you a little bit about his mother and father.
And this is like you're supposed to be good to your parents. You're supposed to treat your parents well.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And actually, his dad died when he was 3.
Wow.
And so his mother moved back to her hometown, and she was a teacher. So she taught him when he was a young boy and other students. So she had a major impact on his life. But she also died when he was fairly young. And tell me, how many years did he mourn her death?
Ooh, how many years did he mourn her death? Well, I'm going to say for the rest of his life, maybe like 30 years.
Okay.
Oh, you're going to put that pressure on me. I was going to give a single digit answer. I'll say 10.
Okay, so let's take a look. The answer is actually 3,
Three?
which is the suggested traditional mourning period of the time.
Oh, okay.
And actually, one of his disciples said, is it possible to mourn less than 3 years? He says it's not. It's very hard to if you really care about your parents. So, but you guys, what, 30? that's even more.
I figure he's Confucius. Maybe he's got like the superlative, right? You know,
Right.
the most possible.
Well, I'm sure he was missing her
Yes,
all his life.
for sure.
Now, this is very interesting. Jesuit missionaries to China were the first to translate his works. And actually, they had a big impact on European thinkers, especially the philosophers of the Enlightenment. Now, tell me which century Confucius got his English name?
Ooh.
When was the Enlightenment ended?
It would have been when they were speaking Latin,
I
right?
don't even know.
Take a wild guess.
This is all you.
I'm going to say the year 1.
Which century? Okay,
Well,
got
we-
year one.
Well, I mean, oh,
First
no,
century?
okay, no, we can do better than this. Let's say 1545.
That's a nice year. Okay. Well, we need a century, that's all.
Oh,
1544?
so no, so we're both saying 14th century, is that right?
That's 16th century.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, let's take a look at the
16th
answer.
century, let's say that.
You guys are right.
Oh,
That's
yes.
when the Jesuit missionaries were there, right?
Okay, wow.
Good for
we
you.
did well.
You got one right.
Saved it.
Okay, so one more question.
Yes.
Now, Confucius actually made the Guinness Book of World Record for his family tree. He has the longest family tree in the world, over 80 generations. So how many recorded descendants does he have? On that,
Recorded
I mean, official,
descendants.
registered descendants on that family tree.
So 80 times what?
No. You can't go multiply. You have to go, what's it called?
Divide.
No,
Kidding.
you have to go to the power of.
Exponential?
Power up.
Exponential.
Oh.
That's the family tree, right? So what's 2 to the 80th power?
Right. Oh, you're
This is gonna-
asking the wrong dude. I'm gonna say 2,000. No, 10,000.
I'm going to say 15,000. Believe in the
Okay.
power of compounding.
Let's take a look how many descendants he has.
Whoa!
2
Yes.
million.
And that's actually only the official registered. People estimate there are about 3 million of them.
Wow.
So, I mean, people have babies, right?
Wow.
And then
We
they
were
have more
way
babies.
off.
That's a lot.
I think if our math is better, we could have done 80 to the power 2 and we probably gotten it. Next time I'm bringing a
Okay.
calculator. That's all I have to
So,
say. Calculator.
That is our Taiwan by number for this week.
And finally today, where in Taiwan? Now at the top of the show, we showed you a photo and asked if you knew what and where it is. Let's have one more look at that photo.
We said that it sells something that was once considered a luxurious form of transportation.
So, what does the shop sell and where in Taiwan is it? Let's have a look at the answer.
This is a bicycle shop in Tainan City that has been running for more than 90 years. The business opened during the Japanese colonial occupation era, hence the Japanese kanji on the store sign. Its current owner, 89-year-old Huang Xiecheng, has kept everything unchanged for decades, including storefront, his toolbox, and the way he manually fixes every bike. Bicycles were a luxurious form of transportation in post-World War II Taiwan. In fact, wealthy people used to give new bicycles as wedding gifts. Huang used to sell about 30 bikes per month in the early days. But scooters gradually took over as the preferred mode of transportation, and Huang says he's been seeing fewer and fewer customers. But despite the changes, Huang and his shop are still open for business, like a snapshot of days gone by.
We hope you enjoyed that inside look at Taiwan this week. Be sure to follow us on social media.
And leave a comment below. We'd love to hear from you. For Taiwan Insider, I am Natalie So.
I'm Leslie Liao.
And I'm Andrew Ryan. See you next week.